Simon, thanks for sitting down with me.
Not a problem.
Great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Simon, what would you say is one of your biggest beefs about perception of the ag sector?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it stems around the misconceptions. We're there for the profitability only. We're not there to produce something safe or be responsible to the environment, but those are key to our livelihoods. So we need to be responsible to the environment so we can keep farming, so our kids can keep farming, or the next generations can keep going. And we need that food safety, because without that food safety, we're not going to have good food for ourselves, and we don't want people getting sick. So I think that food safety, environmental responsibility are some of the biggest obstacles and misconceptions out there.
And what can you or we or us do to help to stem some of that?
Share our stories. Use social media to our advantage, be it Twitter, Instagram. Share pictures of what we're doing. I go out and spray. I'm not afraid to show a picture of that. But, frame it as I'm out here controlling a certain pest, a disease that will downgrade this from a food quality product to feed or less, or fuel. So make those distinctions, share those stories. Don't be afraid to, open up your farm to show people what you do and how you do things.
You've been willing to do that, and even as recently as 2 years ago, I got a lot of pushback from people when I asked them to share their story in agriculture and in the seed sector. And now I think the question is not, should I share my story? It's how do I share my story?
Yes.
And you're on a bit of the forefront of that. The fact that you don't have this color of hair helps, Simon. So thoughts, what do we have, what can we tell people about how to do that?
Be yourself. Not everybody has to do it. If you're not comfortable talking to somebody else about it, you don't have to do it. But I encourage anybody, start with your family. They're usually a little more receptive. You practice on them, and go forward. If you see somebody picking up a package of noodles in the store, and it's a nice package of noodles or pasta, say, hey, you know what? We grow durum wheat on our farm. It's all Canadian, and a fun fact: Italy requires 100% durum semolina in their pastas. It's kind of treat them to some fun information, break the ice that way, and you don't have to be controversial about things.
Right. Just have a conversation.
Yeah, have a conversation.
Have a conversation. You work at Ellis Seeds. You work with family.
Yes.
There's some good, and I suspect probably some less good factors that go with that. Can you talk a little bit about things that you do to keep business and relationships on track?
The number one thing for us is communication. So with the farm, I farm with my wife, my dad, and my mother, and my sister Megan comes in from time to time. She'll run the combines and seeders, and she does a heck of a job. Nice. So that's all awesome. And then we have our seed business, retail, which so everybody from the farm side is involved in that as well, but also my father-in-law is now involved. And him coming in, it was a huge addition to us, but we have to make sure that family relation is top priority, and that's number one for us. So communication, if anybody's feeling uncomfortable about something, has concerns, hard feelings, we want to make sure that's addressed right away, and we move that through, and so communicating, always understanding things, and just making sure everybody's happy and moving forward.
Do you actually schedule time for that? Like in my company, we schedule meetings.
Yeah.
At home, we have Sunday dinners.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys build that in?
We do have a lot of family meals, but we usually have a coffee in the morning, and from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock or 8:30, that's what jobs are going on, how's everybody doing, what's happening, and then the transition between my parents and myself and Amanda, my wife, is a little different because, of course, there's a whole business transition. What are they doing? What are we doing? So that's been a lot of back and forth, and that takes a bit more time, and we have actually scheduled meetings and had full-on agendas for the meeting with checklists and all the professional. You treat it like a business and try to be as professional about it as possible, and stick to the agenda, because then you don't get off on tangents, and you keep get the ideas and issues addressed formally and easily, and hopefully that brings a little ease to everybody in the process.
Well said. So I did a little digging. and I discovered that in 2013 you participated in a fitness competition.
Yes.
Yeah, nicely done. And we're spending like 500 minutes a week in the gym at least.
Yeah, it was twice a day in the gym.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
2-a-days all the time.
Pretty much.
And so I saw the picture. Looking good.
Yeah, you used to.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Farming does take a toll sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tractor meals.
So my question for you is, from that experience, what did you learn from that helps you be the seedsman you are today?
So I think for a lot of that was goal setting. So when I set out, okay, I say, I'm going to do this competition. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. So I've set a goal. It's on April 23rd or whatever date it was. So then it's, how do I do that? So finding the right team. I had an awesome partner in my wife who was also doing it. That was probably the biggest thing is her. But then get a good trainer. Surround yourself with people that can support you. So, when you bring it back to the seed industry, you want to grow your business 3% a year. How are you going to do that? It's a tangible number. So surround yourself with the crew, your partner, whoever it is, and get there. And maybe set, little goals along the way to help break it up so you're not just overwhelmed by this one big goal. Get, in the first quarter, I want this to happen and break it up and you'll get there. But throw yourself at it. Don't set a goal and just say I'll get there eventually. Throw yourself at it. Just get after it.
These kind of goals are not goals that you just make one decision and then it's done. These are twice a day you had to decide to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Every day you have to decide that you're going to do X, Y, and Z to get your seed business to where you want to get to.
You wake up at 5 o'clock. You go out and you start the seed cleaners or whatever. You get up at 5 o'clock and you go to the gym. It's what are your priorities? How are you going to meet that goal?
Well said. Well said. So I got a quote here. It's you.
Oh.
One of my favorite things about being a crop farmer is shortly after planting, when the crop is emerging out of the ground, the world changes from dark brown and black into a brilliant green. I know that the crop is now growing, I know that the crop that is now growing will help to feed many people, and that is an indescribable feeling. So you've called it indescribable, and my question for you is, can you put some words around it for me? What's that feeling like?
It's still really kind of indescribable, and I've thought about this since I've said that. But you're creating, maybe not creating, but you're facilitating life, and that as it grows, you're out there every day looking at it. You're helping it along. You're giving it every opportunity you can, through different fertilizers or pesticides or whatever it might be to help that plant have the best chance of success and at the end of the day. And then, you sell it, and then you can see the fruits of your labor at the store when you see that pasta or that loaf of bread, and yes, that we help to contribute to this, and it's going to go home to somebody, and they're going to feed their family. They're going to sit around their table with everybody and converse over it, and hopefully enjoy the bread.
Right. Absolutely.
So but the heart of the matter, it's a tough thing to say.
It is a tough thing to say. There's a passion there that. How do you talk about passion?
Exactly, and that's they often talk about your heart. You can't. There's no words for what you feel in your heart. The brain doesn't. They don't jive.
That's why they're two separate things.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. You've been an advocate for value creation, value capture in cereals.
Yes, yeah.
And certainly a big topic of conversation here in Montreal this week.
It is.
What do you see as some of the myths that get put out into the world that create the angst around the concept of value creation and value capture?
Well, some of it is, big corporations trying to just get more money, and that's not the case. This is, we signed on to UPOV 91 in 1992, something like that. Yeah. And since then, it's been our government's commitment to fill this and get this implemented, and it's trying to remunerate breeders for their hard work, make sure that that's moving forward, and then getting the industry to grow and move forward as quickly as all the other nations that are already doing it, and potentially passing us at times. And we don't want that. So that this is for the breeders to advance the industry, and it's not about making more money for any one group of people.
And it never really loses focus on the fact that at the end of the day, it's designed to get the producer better varieties into their hands.
Absolutely. Right. And people are worried, oh, this is going to add money to my farm. I don't think so. I don't see it that way. There's still varieties that aren't under UPOF 91. Anything before February 27th, 2015, I think. That's still fair game. They can save it, and there's no fees on that. So then look at it and say, okay, now that the new varieties are out, are these an economic advantage to my farm? And then if they are, go for them. Right. Make an economic decision. And that's how we'll keep advancing the industry. And it should work for everybody. I really truly believe that.
I'm cautiously going to throw this example out. Is it like canola? We have hybrid canola, we have open pollinated canola. If you want to grow open pollinated, fill your boots. Yep. No problem, carry on. You want to grow hybrid, there's certain rules that you're going to adhere to. Yeah. And I think that what we've seen, the adoption of hybrid canola is pretty much right across the board. It took a little while for everyone to understand the concept and the why, and there was a little bit of angst, but now that they do, the choice is obvious. Farmers are making the choice every spring to go down that path. Yeah. Is it a legitimate?
I think it's a good comparison. And even just a couple of years ago, we grew an OP canola. I think the seed was produced in 1996 or something, and it didn't do anywhere near as well as the new varieties. And we wondered if the agronomic practices were the contributing factor, or whether it was the seed. And I think it's a combination of the two for sure. But the genetic potential is there, and the advantages are there. So when we're talking about value creation, I think that will be there. And yes, it's going to take a bit of time. We have to do our due diligence and make sure that the whole process is really good. But I think it'll get there. And I mean, you look at crops like soybeans, where in Manitoba 10 years ago we had a few varieties that were able to grow, and now I think in the seed guide there's over 100 varieties, and that's because the value for the breeders is there. And if we can see that in wheat, I'm excited. I want to see this potential.
Exactly, because we know the potential's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we didn't know if potential was there, and we didn't have scientists telling us that potential is there, then you know what, maybe we should hedge our bet. Absolutely. We know the potential's there, let's go find the top potential and make it happen.
Yeah. Let's get this industry firing on all cylinders and moving forward.
Exactly, and try to look at things as an investment, not a cost.
Exactly, yeah. It's an investment.
Awesome.
100%.
Awesome, thanks very much for sitting down with me. Great to see you.
Not a problem, enjoyed it. Thank you.